Want to be on camera? Say hello.
I can say hello.
Wave.
Yeah, I'll wait.
All right. So the office is nearing completion. We've been using it for a while, but we're just getting things really set up and dialed in to really start bringing customers in and experiencing the display garden, working on drawings and selecting materials. So I'll just give you a little walk around, show you what we're adding, and then I can kind of give you a little before and after tour. This area here, basically behind me, we've got this large set of shelves. We custom built these shelves, had it all fabricated with solid steel so that we could put a lot of weight on this. We're going to put a lot of stone samples, lots of tile, porcelain samples, all kinds of heavy things will be on these shelves. So what we've done is built a really solid set of shelves. These are red oak. The carpenter crew built some beautiful slabs here. They mended all the boards together and built solid shelving. So again, carry lots of weight, but it also looks really good, and we can really share with our clients that we built this and that we have the capability of building things like this. And we really like to set this up as a showroom experience so that every time anybody comes in, we have every product, every sample that we plan to ever use here in this small office. So behind me over here, we're going to be adding another table. This will be a layout table here, where when clients come in, this area is where they kind of have their experience. So we want to put a layout table from end to end. There'll be some cube boxes underneath with more samples, but when they come in, we want to have all their samples all lined up here across this brick wall so that they can experience the lumber selections, the material selections, everything for their property. And then we're going to sit here, walk them through their designs, all the concept drawings or master plans that we've been working on. So they're looking at their drawings here, they're seeing all the actual materials right beside them, and more importantly, we can have their design right up here on this Vibe board, which is an interactive whiteboard tool, and we can actually be hand drawing right on top of their actual drawings, or sitting here at the table with Raylene, actually making the changes to the design in real time, so they can see their design coming to life here in this small design studio. It makes all the difference when people can touch and feel and see things. I think it's much easier to sell luxury projects and landscaping when people know what they're getting. I think oftentimes landscapers forget just how much we know. Customers don't know materials. They don't know design and scale and size. They're looking for an expert to do that for them. All right, so the guys are just in here hanging up another TV here. This is just the admin office. So this is Robin, the fractional CFO. Over here, what happens is we've got, again, custom made desks. These were made by the carpenters at Private Paradise. So if you kind of zoom in there, you can see it's just beautiful red oak desks, all handmade out of 2x6s. This, again, these are examples when we're meeting with customers. We want to really showcase the quality of the workmanship and the capability of the crew. That's what really segments you from the rest of the competitors in this industry. This is more for admin meetings. We've got seating here for 8. That's all we'll probably ever need here working in this office, and just having a nice big display that everybody can look at the same time, whether we're reviewing financial metrics or scorecards, or whether we're working on projects developing standard operating procedures. This is the perfect place to have leadership team meetings and really actually do the work together with one big screen. I think it's super important to have this collaborative style workspace so that everybody can actually dig in and work on these projects together. So back here behind me, you can see the kitchen's in. It served its purpose, but now we're really getting things dialed in. The crew's going to build a nice set of beautiful shelves here, get the microwave all mounted up and finish things off in here. And then over here behind me, this is going to be this administrative area where the large printer for drawings, the printers for the office documents will be sitting in here. And there'll be a large set of cube shelving built here, again, with lots of small wooden trays that can be pulled out, where we can store things, keep it really tidy, keep it labeled, keep our office inventory up to date. So this whole wall here will be all built out next week as well. I just want to talk about these stamps here for a minute. So one common thing that often becomes a big problem for landscapers is an inability to job cost. So we use LMN software for job costing, and one of the most important things when you're job costing is knowing where the equipment or where the materials were used when you're actually trying to assign the costs to a job. So over the years, working in the industry as long as I have, I've developed lots of simple little systems to make these things happen in a little more clear way. So you can see here there's two stamps that I really believe are needed. One says T&M, and the other stamp here just identifies the job site address, the work area, and who received that piece of paper. And when I say a piece of paper, that's usually a packing slip, a delivery slip, or an invoice for materials that arrived on the job site. Now, immediately, every single piece of paperwork gets stamped with this, and they fill that out. When it hits accounting, when Robin is entering, what we then know for sure is where every piece of material went and what it was used for. This allows for really accurate job costing. And if it's an extra, or if it's something that we're billing on cost plus or time and material, they also stamp it with a T&M stamp. When they stamp it with that T&M stamp, it flags that it's an extra and it has to get added to the normal contract amount. And so these two stamps are inside the door of every truck that we have, and we also keep them in the shop, in the meeting area, so that at the end of the day when the guys are coming in, they can stamp every piece of paperwork they receive, and this way when it heads over to Robin, he's got 90% of the information needed. He might not have everything, it's never perfect, but it's a lot better than just guessing. And what I've seen over the years helping thousands of landscapers with budgeting, very rarely do they have clean accounting and job costing. These two little stamps really do make that possible when your office administration team or your accounting team is sorting through all of that inbound paperwork and getting it into the accounting system in a way where you actually know what your job costs are to know whether or not you're profitable. The shop's about 25 years old and getting pretty tired. So we had a company come in and grind all the floors down first, and they did a complete overhaul on the floor with an epoxy coating. So that was kind of step one. So we emptied the shop entirely, which it really truly needed a good cleaning and overhaul. It was really unorganized, been kind of put together throughout the season. Being the first year in business, there was lots of work going on and lots of systems missing. So what we've been really trying to do is create a lean shop here at Private Paradise. So I'll give you a little walk around, show you what we're building, and over the next week or two, things should come together and be completely dialed. So this shop here is going to be the carpentry shop. It's much more efficient to build as much as possible in the shop. So we're really going to set this up with larger equipment, a little bit better accuracy with larger table saws, chop saws, that sort of thing. So we're really going to get the shop dialed in so that we can do a lot more prefabrication in here. So you can see we've added all of these brand new cabinets. This is largely for parts, consumables, small tools, that sort of thing. We put all of our equipment in tool trailers when we're working out on job sites, and we have some smaller on-site storage solutions as well. But working here at the shop, it's really important to create an inventory system, something that can be managed where every day as things are outgoing, they're being logged for job costing. But more importantly, we can also automatically reorder and keep things stocked so that as the crews come in and out, they can replenish. And again, because we want to factory build or shop build as much as possible, we just want to have all of our consumables here so that we don't have to go to a lumber store to restock when we're building. So you can see here, there's just blue tape right now on all the cabinets. This will turn into a labeling system. It'll be fully labeled with barcodes, and the inventory system then automatically flags reordering because there's a minimum and maximum. So each day as the crews are taking things out, they're logging what they're taking, and then the inventory management system always reminds the project manager to reorder so that we're always up to date with inventory. This wood shop is sort of set up with some categorization here in the shelving. So this first section is really all set up for all their consumable products, all the small things that they need, glues, caulkings, stains, paint, that sort of thing. So cabinets will have all the small tools and the consumable materials that they would use day to day. So we kind of set that area up. And then over here, this area's got all the consumable parts and pieces for sanding, painting. If you think about all the different types of sandpaper for different types of sanders, all these things are all in the cabinets so that, again, they just don't have to go to Home Depot or, run out of things right in the moment when the work's ongoing. Over here, we're going to have a safety section. So here what we want to have is our dust masks, our ear protection, eye protection. Everything for safety is going to be in here, right down to lifting equipment, shackles. We want slings, all the stuff that we use for rigging large walls and panels and even masonry into place. So we've got a safety section. And so really creating a proper inventory and making sure that everybody understands that safety is a priority is really something that has to happen in every company. And I think really setting a clear area aside is a huge way to make that clear that it is a priority. Over here, we've just set up a new area with lockers. Again, we're working outside. We're working in all sorts of weather. Here in Ontario, you can get 4 seasons in the same day. So really important that everybody has a locker, rubber boots, rain gear, extra winter clothing, extra equipment that they might have, like their hard hat, safety glasses, gloves, things like that. If things change, if the weather changes, they've always got what they need here with them. Just makes working outdoors more comfortable. And in the trades, I think it's really important to set people up for success by giving them a little bit of a place to store their stuff, because everything changes at the last minute in this business. You just never know what the weather's going to do. So last spring when Jake got started, we built the first trailer together, and we really used that as a template for a lean work trailer. And what you can see here right now is the guys are just building another one. So very much the same as the other trailer. We want to really kind of keep the trailers consistent. That's why we put so much time and effort into designing the first one, because then they could be easily duplicated. So we built this little drawing table here up in the corner, and basically this just gives them a place to store all their drawings and paperwork, and just a little place to lay out and have meetings when they're, maybe a little cold outside, could be a little wet. It's nice always to come into the trailer and do a little meeting. I like really having a little bit of a drawing table in every trailer. I think it's a great place to start the day, make sure that daily paperwork's filled out, make sure that all of the daily reporting is taken care of. And I really just think having a drawing in the trailer to think about when you're standing and having your 5 meetings a day. I think just taking the time to stand together with the crew, review the drawing, talk about the goals, talk about what's going to get done each day. This is the place where those meetings happen every day. And we also like to put the first aid station immediately around that area. We like to mount a bulletin board with all the workplace safety information, that sort of thing. Really kind of keep that as that one stop for project management. Now, this area behind me is going to be really set up as a morning meeting area and a training area. So what you can see we're doing here right now is just kind of clean the area up. We've mounted a couple of TVs up here to the left, and basically these TVs are going to have live reports on them. So when the crew is over here in the morning having their big morning meeting, the reports are live up on the wall, so they can see estimated versus actual hours, and they understand exactly how many hours have been used and how many are remaining for every work area on the job site. So we use LMN software for that. It makes it really easy for people to actually understand how long jobs are supposed to take and how things are going. And this way people can actually self-manage. And ultimately, the profitability of the job relies solely on whether or not the crews can get the work done on time. So having that report live every morning for everybody to see makes all the difference. There's going to be classroom-style seating set up here. So we've got some tables that'll be sitting in here permanently, and then some extra tables to put in for larger trainings. So we mounted a big 100-inch TV here on the wall for the main training. This would be for videos. This would be for any PowerPoint presentations that we might be using. But ultimately, this is kind of the morning meeting area and also classroom style trainings. We've got 3 more TVs that we've mounted up here on the wall. Again, these TVs are there for a reason. This is where schedule, where planning, and where scorecard metrics are shown. And so we like to have the metrics up on the wall live all the time. We want to make sure that the crews understand if they're trending toward hitting their revenue goals, in addition to just knowing whether or not they're on track with their labor. So we want them to always know in the moment how their job's going with estimated versus actual hours. And then we also want them to know how their year's going so that everybody knows where they're going, what they're doing, and how they're doing. That's really the most important thing, is making sure that everybody in the company understands what's going on. Because I think if you want to win the game, everybody needs to know exactly what the score is, and they need to know what good looks like in real time. I think there needs to be a place for everything, and that place needs to be labeled. We want to know how many of what we have, and so we want to label everything, and we want to barcode everything and get it all into the inventory management system. When people take tools out, we want to know that they're taking them out, and we want to know where they're going. Using Leanscaper AI, the crew can just say what they've taken, conversational AI, and where it's going, and we've got instant reporting on where all of the equipment is. In addition to that, we can tag and use an IoT management system, which just automatically tells us where all the equipment is because of the ID tags that are on the equipment. Now, you can see up here, all of these have been labeled. We've got areas for up top, typically lighter things that aren't super heavy and also not used very often. We don't want to put things up high that are out of the way, that need a lot of time to get down, that we use day to day. So the way that we've kind of structured the shop is things that you use very infrequently get put up high, and we like to put lighter equipment up high. We don't like to put heavy things up there. And then as you can see in these cages, this is more day-to-day use. But again, we put these behind lock and key, and in the morning, when the crews are here, they can sign out the tools, and then at the end of the day, there's just a simple laydown area where they can return the tools, and then we just have the yard manager put all the tools away. And this way also, we know where it is, we know who has it, and we know exactly what job site it's on. So the next area is the mechanical welding and steel fabrication area. So again, I really like to segment the wood shop from the metal shop or the mechanical shop. It's really important, mainly just for cleanliness. When we're working in the wood shop, we can't have any grease or any sign of any dirt because we're doing very, very high-end cabinetry. We're building buildings with really expensive materials, and it's highly, highly finished and polished. So that area has to be spotless. So by segmenting 2 areas of the shop, it makes it really easy to kind of say clean and dirty. Now, metal work, heavy equipment repair, it's dirty, messy, greasy work. And so this shop will always be used specifically for that. Back here behind me, you can see we like to keep a really big assortment of nuts and bolts and screws, both metric and imperial. Every piece of equipment is different, unfortunately, so we need a lot of different nuts and bolts when we're doing repair work. We like to do a lot of our own maintenance, a lot of our own repairs. And then, of course, we also use a lot of these fasteners a lot when we're doing steel fabrication and building different features for projects as well. So it seems like a little bit of a big investment at first. You know, this one little wall is probably $15,000 worth of parts and pieces, maybe even more. But it really does save a fortune, because every time you have to hop in the truck and go to a parts store when you need something at the last minute, you're usually wasting hours. And in the landscaping business, $150 to $300 per revenue hour is not uncommon. So we quickly pay for the cost of having this, and eventually we're going to use it all anyway. So having that right here in the shop is an incredibly important thing for efficiency. And what you'll notice we do here in the future is we create departments, and we put signage up that kind of tell people where to go. So this will say small engine repair. That area behind us will say welding. That gets them into the general area, but then makes it very visual to find what they need. And ultimately, what we're trying to do is eliminate the waste, not only of looking for things, which is a big slowdown, but more importantly, forgetting or thinking we just don't have what we need. I think all too often crews rush in and rush out because we've got morning rollout timelines, but quite often they get to the site and don't have what they need. And there lies the problem. I think most landscape companies are operating at about 40% of their actual capacity. That's kind of crazy. It seems hard to believe, but I think what happens is the companies are moving and everybody's working hard, but they're just not working in the priority or the order that they should, often because they just don't have what they need. So somebody's kind of always off on a scramble trying to find materials or fix equipment. So and the rest of the crew's kind of working along trying to stay busy and keep things moving, but often just not in the right order. So we really like to put as much emphasis as possible on having what we need here, so that we can get out of the yard in the morning quickly, but also have everything we need so that the day runs smooth. And then extra inspection books are always here, whether it's daily inspection on heavy equipment or on trucks. There's no excuse not to be doing that when the paperwork's available and there's clear categorization in the shop. So this whole mechanical shop is set up to do the repairs, and it's also set up with all the repair records. Just makes it really easy to have everything in one place. These toolboxes behind me are all just mechanical repair tools, and over here we've just set up a new little workstation as part of this shop rebuild, and this is going to be for small engines repair. And then this big workbench that we see here is set up more for steel fabrication. You can see the welders over here right now. This whole area is going to have a lot more equipment as we pull everything together here over the next couple weeks. Well, that's it for this week's update on the shop. There's lots of work happening here over the next 2 weeks. It's going to really come together. We're pretty excited about this new shop build, and we know it's going to have a huge impact on the company in year 2.
This is the plan right here, Max.
No, but it doesn't show anything here.
This is the plan. This is the plan.
Okay, Ryan.
It's gonna look exactly like that.
Yes. It's the vision. Some people can't see it.